of Online starting right now. And welcome to Online. Say, have you experienced a personal family makeover? Or do you have an unusual family situation? Are you a blended family? Well, we want to hear from you. Now, our number is 1-866-NOW-TV10, and why not send us an email to online@nowtv.ca. Now, a little bit later in the program, something completely different. We have our nightly report from the PNE. Tonight, we talk with retired weather forecaster, remember him, Norm Groman, who has undergone his own extreme makeover in retirement. Right now, joining us in studio, Bonnie Bennett and his wife, Bonnie. Good to have both of you here.
Nice being here, Doug.
Well, this is tough because we're talking about restored relationships, and of course, to have restored relationships means there was broken relationships. So that's kind of where we're going to go. And Billy, I'll start with you. Go back a few years in your life. And again, I appreciate you coming in and opening up your life like this. It's not an easy thing to do on television in front of everybody. So thank you for doing that.
Good.
A lot of men, a lot of people go through this in their lives. They're married for a number of years, and then all of a sudden, someone else comes into their life. And they have to make a decision whether they're going to stay in the relationship that they're in or venture out into this new relationship. Go back a few years with me and tell me what was going through your head that, brought you to a point to make a decision to leave your wife and start up another relationship.
Well, this wasn't a midlife crisis, by the way. It was something that I've sort of struggled with for some time in my life, and because of success, it sort of gave me the open door to get into relationships. And so I happened to meet Bonnie, and when we met, we looked at each other and we said, well, looks like I did at least. This would be the girl for me. And it was a disastrous time of leaving the family, but it worked out to be a wonderful situation. Here I am with Bonnie today.
Now, going back, was there something, now, you and your wife had been together for how long?
We were together about 20 some years.
So you've had this relationship 20 years.
Yes.
You've produced
two beautiful children. Right.
And we wanted to have Jan on the program tonight.
Right.
But she was willing to do that. That's your daughter. But she became very ill actually yesterday and was not able to be with us tonight. So we would have liked to have had her on. We'll talk about how that relationship got restored here in a second. But what was going through your head? I mean, I think everybody out there sits back and says, what goes through a person's head that was willing to leave not just a wife, but family? I mean, you had to realize that by doing that, you were possibly separating yourself from your own children.
That's a hard question, Doug, because at the time, I wasn't thinking of any disastrous situation about leaving my family. I just wanted to have fun, and I just wanted to have this relationship with this lady, and who was my hostess in one of my businesses. And you just don't think about what will develop if you leave your wife.
At the time, were you thinking long-term relationship?
No, not
with Bonnie, or was it just this is going to be something that's going to be a fling?
It was a challenge, Doug. It was a challenge at the time, but it did turn out to be more than that, of course. It turned out to be a long-term situation. But no, at the time, I wasn't thinking about making it a long decision as far as staying together. It was just a beautiful challenge, and she was there at the right time. And I was just wanting something different. I think that's what a lot of men think. They think that there's greener grass on the other side, and just something different would be fabulous. And the old saying goes, there is fun in sin, but it's the aftermath that really is disastrous.
And I think what's hard for some people is to realize that you'd had a very good upbringing. Mm-hmm. You were raised in the church. Mm-hmm. Mother and father very
much so.
Very good Christian people. And you'd gone to Bible college?
Yes.
And so it wasn't a matter of not knowing right from wrong. But how did you justify it? From the standpoint of sitting back saying, okay, I know, we all know something's wrong, but then we can justify anything, can't we?
We can, but you know, at the time, I didn't even look at that. I was looking at the good time, the fun in having a relationship. I couldn't justify anything. In fact, at that time, I never looked back at where I came from. I was just looking at what I was doing at that particular time, and it was exciting, and it was fun.
You must have had friends in your life.
Lots of them.
Close enough to you to sit back and say, Billy, what are you doing?
You know, Doug, I wish I could say that I had friends that would come and say, what are you doing? But you know what? They seemed like they went along with the flow. They understood it, and yet they never really came down and said, Billy, you're doing something wrong. And we never had the tools. Our friends that we knew back there never had the tools in any way, shape, or form back then in those years to really straighten out my life or even their own life.
Was there a point in this where all of a sudden you woke up one day and maybe you suddenly realized that, oh my God, I wonder what I've done to my kids?
Oh yes, very much.
I wonder if they'll ever love me again.
Oh yeah, that was the big one. And it was sometime before, of course, when I walked away from my family, it was sometime before my children would come and even address me as their father. So it was pretty hard. But I never thought about that. You see, we only think about ourselves. It's a selfish situation. It's about me, myself, and that's it. We don't think about wife, kids, or anything. We just think about what we can do for ourselves and have fun.
Your needs at
Meeting
that
my
point in
needs,
time.
and I was more important than anybody else. And I thought, I'm going to enjoy my life and take it to the top. I thought.
Okay, I want to talk to Bonnie here for a second. Bring Bonnie into this. Bonnie, you were that other woman.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that other woman was today.
And the interesting thing is this time, too, you were married.
Yes.
But your marriage at that point in time was at what level? Was it a good relationship?
Obviously, there was something wrong. There were problems that weren't addressed. Things were not dealt with. And I think a lot of it is like temporary insanity. When you think about making some of these choices, it's like you're not thinking. It's not like you're thinking at all. It's just going with what? It's selfish, like Bill says. It's totally thinking of only yourself.
Well, in your case, and I don't mean to get overly personal with this, but do you mind if we kind of, I mean, if I ask
You're
a question,
getting overly
I know,
personal.
if I ask a question that says off bounds, just say, you know, we're not going
okay.
there.
I'll stick my hand
Yeah.
up, right?
Was it about the sex? Was it just really good sex, and that was the physical
some
side
of it?
was
That some of it is that, but I think there's a deeper thing there that's missing. It isn't just a sexual thing, but for many people it is. That is the reason they go.
Yeah.
That is the reason they run, but it goes deeper than that. There's a more serious problem.
But from a man's standpoint, the sexual aspect is a big thing. Not so much, I don't think, for the other side, but for men, that's the big thing.
And sometimes the relationship in a marriage can not be providing maybe what the sex was at one time.
Exactly right, definitely.
And so a person sits back and obviously wonders what it might be like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And some people actually act on that.
That's right,
Fantasy.
Bonnie. Fantasy is it,
Yeah.
definitely.
Not reality.
No, no.
Did you think that this was going to be a long-lasting relationship when you got involved?
No. It was a fling. It was just for short term. And just circumstances changed that for us, and we've been married now for 27 years. So this is a long time ago, and there's a lot that's happened along the way that's made us into the people that we are today.
Did you ever think, knowing about Billy, that he was willing to cheat on his wife, that in a relationship, as you started going down the road in your relationship, that, hey, you know, if he could cheat on her, he could cheat on me?
If they'll do it with you, they'll do it to you, is how that saying goes.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I don't know. I didn't think. I don't even know who the woman was.
What do you mean?
I just didn't think about that kind of thing. It didn't really matter to me. I didn't even really have a concern about it. And in the beginning, it was quite a sexual thing, an attraction, and the unhappiness that we each had, and it was our own personal problems that caused us.
You remember how it
We
started?
were brokenness attracted to brokenness.
You remember how it started?
It just started.
Flirtatious
Just-
type of stuff?
It
But
was.
you know, I hired her as my hostess in this place, and that's how it started. And my maitre d' said, you ought to interview this lady. She'd make a fabulous hostess. And of course, when I interviewed her, I thought to myself, you're right. And then she became, but another thing too, Doug, which attracts, I think too, this attracted her. I had everything. I had a yacht, I had a beautiful cars, I had everything going for me.
Beautiful restaurant.
That attracts a lot of women. And it attracted, I think it attracted her Bonnie too as well at the time.
Unfortunately, a lot of women can be attracted to all that.
Yeah.
And
So there was the idea that this would be a fun thing. There's money
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
involved.
And we had fun.
But you know, it's really awful.
What did you think of as I hate to use this term, the other woman,
Yeah,
but when you thought about Billy's kids,
I didn't. I
You
didn't think about it.
how could you not think about it?
I don't know. I don't know who that woman was.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I only thought about myself.
Did it ever hit you down the road? Like
Oh.
all of a sudden you saw, did you ever have an encounter, for example, this is why I wanted to have Jan here.
Yes,
'cause she
it would be
entered
great
into
to
this.
have her here.
But did you ever have an encounter with her where she came to you and told you what she thought?
We had many encounters, and
What would she say? Maybe you can't use those words on television.
well, why would she love me? You know, she wouldn't love me. I was represented the loss of her dad. I mean, it was a terrible thing that I did. And so she had no love for me. It took me years and years and years to win her respect. She eventually came to respect me because of the woman I became in the midst of the crisis,
Yeah.
because I chose another way.
All right. Well, I want to come back and talk about that because the purpose of this program is talked about how do we restore relationships, not how we break them up.
Right.
And so we want to come back and talk about that, but we needed to lay some foundation so
Yes.
people would understand. All right. 1-866-NOW-TV10 is our telephone number. Have you gone through a broken relationship? Are you going through one? If you'd like to talk tonight, give us a phone call, 1-866-NOW-TV10, and share your thoughts on broken and restored relationships. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Metropolis at Metrotown and Metrotown Center. One stop, 460 shops.
Watch Reba Friday at 9 and Sunday at 7 on Now TV.
Friends Helping Friends, a special extreme makeover.
We're taking it to the Big Apple in a big way.
Extreme Makeover, Wednesday at 8, followed by online at 9 on Now TV.
Crime Stoppers Mugshots on Now TV. If you have information on these wanted people, please call now.
When you buy a quality hardwood floor, you want to be sure that it's going to be installed to your satisfaction. At The Finishing Touch, our installers are the best in the business, and we guarantee every installation. The Finishing Touch, Burnaby, Richmond, Langley.
It's Mad Dog's Hockey Power Play event on now. Don't pay for 3 months. No interest, no payments. Louisville one-piece sticks, 50% off. 50% junior trade back. See Wednesday's province for details. Don't pay for 3 months. No interest, no payments. Mad Dog's Hockey Power Play sale is on now with our guaranteed low, low prices. Abbotsford, Langley, and South Surrey.
Hyundai, a leader in design and engineering, helps make Jim Pattison Hyundai Western Canada's largest volume dealer, providing the best selection, quality, and service. Jim Pattison Hyundai, Fraser Highway and 88th Avenue in Surrey, the North Shore Auto Mall in beautiful North Vancouver, and our newest location, Ottawa and Logie in Port Coquitlam. Jim Pattison Hyundai, now with Canada's best warranty. When you build them better, you can back them better.
Leo Rance can't play golf, but he sure can sell real estate.
You've seen shows where experts put unbelievable values on antiques. On September 4th, the Vancouver Flea Market walls will be bursting with those hidden treasures. Who knows, it may be your lucky day. Make a date to come and browse for that priceless antique. The Vancouver Flea Market, September 4th.
At the Finishing Touch, we carry the finest hardwood flooring available in the world. This is American black walnut. We import it direct for the best possible price and guarantee both product and installation. The Finishing Touch, Burnaby, Richmond, Langley.
Now TV's on-air personalities have their hair services provided by Michonne's, the salon and spa, open Monday to Saturday.
Now TV encourages the expression of a wide variety of views during this program. However, Now TV does not necessarily share or endorse these points of view.
Welcome back to Online Dateline. My name is Doug Kooy. Tonight, Billy Bennett and Bonnie Bennett is with me. We are talking about restored relationships. And you heard their story. Billy and Bonnie had a love affair. They were both married, decided to hook up with each other. But then you have the broken relationships that are left, you know, on both sides. And it becomes a very difficult issue, to say the least. Let's talk about restored relationships. Let's get over to that side. Billy, you have a son and a daughter. I was with both of you at the game on Friday night, the BC Lions game. Right. And I love your kids very much. They're delightful. And but there was a time where both of them, it was just devastating to them to know that Dad had made a decision because they felt abandoned by their father.
Absolutely.
And they were.
Yeah. And they didn't leave Mom. They left you left the family.
That's right.
So when did this turn around? Where did the ice break?
Well, I think, Doug, it was about a year later after I had left the family, and I was wondering why my children are not making any contact with me.
Did you understand that?
Yeah, I understood it because why would they? What devastation I caused. Yeah. But I thought at least there should be, you know, when you're going through this kind of a situation, you think, well, why wouldn't the kids come and talk to you? I mean, after all, I'm still their dad. But it was sometime, and I thought for sure I've lost those two children. But one day my daughter phoned up and said, Dad, I want to see you. So I drove up in my Cadillac convertible. I always had to have the best and show the best to make them think that, hey, you know, your dad's successful. And I took her down by the waterfront, and we sat in the car, and she said, you know, Dad, she said, I really don't like what you're doing. I hate what you're doing. But you know what? I love you because you're my father. Whew. That hit me like you wouldn't believe. And it was from that time on that it really, things begin to turn around. When she made that statement, I made all the effort to make contact and to make this relationship really work with my children again. And it started that way.
Was there ever a time where you said to Jan, forgive me?
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sorry, I've blown it.
Many times.
Oh, many times I've done that. And sometimes it didn't hold any water, but it did catch on towards the end, and she really realized that I was sorry, and I apologized to her and asked for her forgiveness. And I wanted to really make it a point that I love you and I'm sorry for what I've done. And it just seemed to be a slow work, but it just gradually got to the place. Today, I have 3 children from Bonnie, and those two, and we're together as a unit, 5 children. You almost think they come from the same mother because there's a love aspect there, because the area of forgiveness is past, and now there's a love situation, even from my former wife. we're together with Bonnie and all of us. There's a love situation there now.
Bonnie, what was it like for you? Because here you have this other lady, that Gloria, that you probably didn't know real well, but you know that Bill had had a relationship for many, many years. And then all of a sudden something happened in your life. You became a Christian. And all of a sudden, did it become important to you with the changes that had happened in your life to then try to relate to Gloria?
It became important to me to ask for her forgiveness for the part that I played in the breakup of their marriage. And it became important that she knew that I needed that, you know, and that I wanted to have a relationship with her because we shared grandchildren and we share events and things like that. And it wasn't easy. I mean, this stuff has been going for 27 years. We've been working on this. And I was just thinking of Bill when he was saying about the times that we have asked the kids for forgiveness. There's times that we've done it publicly, or we've done it in places where it's helped other people in church situations, but they can never hear it enough. You don't just say that once. And she still sometimes likes to hear, you know, that her dad, you know, I don't want to use I don't know what word to use, but
yeah, I know
they can never hear it enough. The pain is so great through it that it's not just a one-time thing. And it still surfaces occasionally.
Yeah.
But less and less. It's like a spiral, you know, and less. It starts out small, and then the more we've grown, the more healing we've experienced, the more counseling and work that we've done together as a family, because this is an ongoing.
Would you actually say, and I want to take some calls now, but would you actually say that at this point, you and Bill's former wife, Gloria, are friends?
We're friends. We can talk. We can go together. You know, we don't make a point. We live in different cities. When we're together, we enjoy one another's company.
We're
Christmas
friends together.
And we share grandchildren. We share our concerns about the kids, and she loves our kids.
Was there a time in your wildest imagination that you thought?
No, I didn't imagine that ever happening.
Okay.
And in the midst of the pain of it all, people can't imagine that ever happening. And for most people, it doesn't ever happen.
Yeah.
So it is an exceptional situation.
It is. Let's take some calls tonight. Got quite a few. As you can imagine, we have a lot of phone calls on a topic like this. Pat is on the line. Hi, Pat. Thanks for calling.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What do you think, Pat?
Well, I have a very completely different opinion of Mr. Bennett. But anyway, I can remember back east. This is the other side of the equation. There was a gentleman. He'd left his wife, and he didn't know why he'd left his wife. And he'd walked away from God, and he decided, God kept nudging at him, go to church, go to church, go to church, and his wife kept coming to church with my husband and I to the Mississauga Gospel Temple run by the Cantillons. And they had a visitor there one day, and he said, anybody that's here, would you please come forward if you need prayer? So we pushed this guy up, pushed him up, and he didn't even recognize his wife from the back, but we did. And she was standing in front of him, and he turned around and said, would you all turn around and apologize to the person that's standing behind you? And she turned around, and they fell into each other's arms, and that was that. They remarried. So God does work.
Yeah, the phone line's cracking up here, so sorry about that, Pat. Did you get where she was going with that?
I'm sorry, I didn't. I don't know what she was trying to get at.
The marriage had been healed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
and that's
turned it around.
Ultimately the best thing that could ever happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Eva's on the line. Hi, Eva.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening. What do you think?
Well, you know what? I'm trying to walk the fence on this for both sides, because through the years in my broken relationship, with age comes wisdom and reflection. And I was the one that walked away from my marriage relationship with 4 children. And
why did you do that, Eva?
Well, my husband was a pastor. We were in the church. We were brought up in the church. And I guess the big mistake, and the reason I'm calling is because the mandate for relationships is so crucial and so important to really pay attention to each other, not just as husband and wife, but as people and man and woman, and to stay focused on being in love. And I felt I guess I felt like I was just functioning in the relationship and facilitating my husband's career choices after he left the pastorate, following him around the country, and leaving my parents, elderly parents, etc. And as Christian wives, that's what we do, is make sure that our husbands are realizing their goals and dreams and aspirations, because we are led to believe that that's how we are going to achieve that marriage happiness, is if our husbands are happy and satisfied and rewarded in their career choices.
Looking back on it now, is there anything that you think you could have done, knowing what you know now, differently that would have kept that marriage together?
Well, again, because I was facilitating the relationship, I look back and I'm thinking, okay, God put these two people together, which is my husband and I. He doesn't make mistakes. And like Bonnie said, that the ideal thing is to stay together. And that's how you find out what God's plan is for yourselves as two people, plus the family and the children that you bring into the world. And now I look back 25 years later and think, you know what? You carry your baggage with you from relationship to relationship, and you keep repeating the same mistakes. And all it boils down to is trying to follow God's formula for relationships. Basically, to communicate and let your spouse know that what you would want out of that relationship. And I look back and think, God's blessed me with a wonderful new husband who loves the kids. I've always had a wonderful relationship with my first husband. We've always been best of friends. The divorce was never hostile. It was just basically disintegrated. And now I look back and think, you know what? That was God's best plan for us. And now my kids are not going to realize God's best for their lives. We're going to be settling for second best. And I've kind of short-circuited the potential and the opportunity for God to work in our lives. And yeah, we still gave our lives to the Lord and say, okay, here we are. We made, like I was telling your screener earlier, I made a lemon out of my life, but he made lemonade out of it because he still loves me.
So it's been a great saying. I've liked that saying a lot.
And what I tell my friends when they're going through this, because it happens 50% of the time, I'm just seeing marriage relationships break up. Don't walk away, because the next relationship is not going to be guaranteed to be better. You will never find happiness at the price tag of making somebody else miserable. And God doesn't, like I said, make mistakes.
Eva, you've said it a lot tonight, and I thank you for your honesty and sharing with us tonight. Your reaction to Eva's call, either one of you.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about it as she was talking. I made a statement earlier. She said, 25 years later, was it, or now that she's in a new marriage? And I keep on saying to myself, even going back 27, 30 years ago, and this is fact in my life, if we would have had the right tools, regardless of how you know the Word, and regardless of how you've been brought up in the Christian church, we still did not have the tools, the right tools, to bring the marriage back together again. And because of the seminar that we went through and learned these tools, it has helped our marriage we have more strength in our marriage than ever before, and we help people through this seminar receive these tools.
I'm going to come back, and I don't think I've ever asked you guys this, and I've known you guys for many, many years. Was there a time, even in your relationship, where it got really tough? Can I ask that? Okay, we'll come back. We're going to talk. Aline is going to be with us next. 1-866-NOW-TV10 is our telephone number. Jump in if you'd like to talk. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning brought to you by Metropolis at Metrotown and Metrotown Center. One stop, 460 shops.
Heads up, it's time for Sports Now. Here's your featured games of the week. This edition of Sports Now is brought to you by Kelsey's, your neighborhood bar and grill. When you're looking for the perfect place to gather and relax with family and friends, think Kelsey's.
40 grand to the players up front.
Sometimes
You can find 7 men willing to throw the World Series.
it's not about winning.
I think they're the greatest ball club I ever seen.
Sometimes
You just play your ball game and I'll play mine and we'll see how it comes out.
losing costs you everything. John Cusack, Charlie Sheen, the scandal that rocked a nation. 8 Men Out, airing twice on Now TV. Friday, September 10th at 8 p.m. and Saturday, September 11th at 11 p.m. Don't miss 8 Men Out.
Hey, you're coming downtown anyway. Stop at Downtown Toyota. Have your car serviced and save the cost of parking. Oil, lube, filter, and parking. Only $29.95. And our shuttle will drop you off and pick you up.
Although Cabinets Plus kitchens are described with words like amazing, wonderful, spectacular, even wow, understandably, Cabinets Plus customers and connoisseurs appreciate the style and elegance of true craftsmanship, the importance of greater storage space with easy access, great accessories, plus a wide selection of door styles and colors. At Cabinets Plus, Bridgeport Road, Richmond, we design your kitchen to meet your specific needs. Cabinets Plus offers you the best value for the most important room in your home.
We are kids. Wish kids.
10,000 kids.
We are brave.
We are strong.
We are fighters. Some days are good. Some days are bad. Some of us make it.
Some of us don't.
My wish will make me strong.
Children's Wish Foundation of Canada.
Does a wish make a difference?
You bet. You bet.
Helping kids be kids again.
Only 2 more needles till my wish.
Please give today.
Toyota built their reputation by producing high-quality cars. And at Downtown Toyota, we built our reputation on high-quality service. So when you think Toyota, think downtown.
Solving crime through community support. Crime Stoppers, proudly supported by Simmons Mattress Gallery.
During a bad snowstorm around 1 p.m. on January 6th this year, police were called to a disturbance in the 1800 block of Harrow Street in Vancouver. Loud banging and arguing male and female voices